Hello and welcome. This is TVWAN Midday News Update. I am Rex Litter. The audit exercise for teachers in East and West Sepik provinces started on August 27, 2024 and will continue for 2 weeks. The Teaching Service Commission said this exercise is important for the teaching service full admission. The purpose of this exercise is to bring accountability into the teaching profession. In this exercise, TSC officers are thoroughly checking teachers' qualifications, whether they have full teacher registration or number of provincial registration, inspection reports for promotion purpose and personal information. This is to make sure that all teachers are genuine. For teachers who have entered the system through fraudulent will be removed from the system. The exercise is also to identify the strengths and areas of improvement for teachers in the system. Prime Minister and leader for Pangu Party James Marape is confident of taking 80-member coalition government to face the motion of the vote of no confidence beginning Tuesday, this week when the parliament resumes.
Prime Minister James Marape said with the return of member for Pomio Elias Kapavore to Pangu, restoring government numbers to 78, the coalition is currently pushing towards a 80 membership with some give and take. Marape said currently the coalition government has 78 MPs with the inclusion of Pomio MP Elias Kapavore. Pangu alone has 10 MPs from New Guinea Islands region, 19 from the islands, 9 from Momase and 10 from Southern region.
Since we entered the lapse of 18 months grace period early this year, we've been always ready to have handle on the VONC process on the floor of Parliament. But they have not been compliant to the requirements of standing order and the requirements of Section 145 of our Constitution. So I just want to assure our country, no one will run away on this side. I've said many times, Prime Ministership is not my birthright. There are leaders who stand with me here.
The Prime Minister said government has not been deliberately stifling the VONC as perceived. Rather, it was the opposition's inability to reinforce its stand because it has been lacking in numbers and buying time by deliberately making mistakes in processing their VONC motion. He clarified that the opposition were given an opportunity by the Speaker in the last session of Parliament to have the motion on notice. Technically, the Prime Minister clarified that the Speaker overrode the Private Business Committee and made a ruling from the Chair that the motion be placed on notice. However, the opposition members walked out from the chamber.
Now, I invoked the Section 96 dissent on the Speaker's ruling. So technically, the opposition had an opportunity to defeat my motion. Any transaction on the floor of Parliament takes place by way of a vote. Whether it's a simple motion to adjourn Parliament or any other motion, whether it's a law motion, ordinary law to constitutional law, all decisions on the floor of Parliament is made by a way of vote. So instead of standing on the floor of Parliament to defend the Speaker's ruling that the motion is placed on notice on Wednesday, they vacated the floor of Parliament. If they had number, they should have supported the Speaker and get the motion listed on Wednesday for Thursday, for it to come on in the Parliament notice on Thursday. We would have adjourned Parliament for 1 week and come back that time to deal with the vote of no confidence. But they vacated knowing very well they did not have the numbers.
Freddie Mo, TVWAN News.
Meantime, Prime Minister James Marape has reaffirmed the status of East New Britain Province as a model province in the landscape of Papua New Guinea's provincial and local level government systems, commending its leadership for concerted efforts on development. The Prime Minister made this point as the welcome the return of member for Pomio Elias Kapavore to Pangu Party and the government, emphasizing the important role the member continues to play in the development of the province.
This year is the 30th anniversary of eruption. So Governor has led with Honorable Dr. Alan Marat in reopening Rabaul. We overlaid the Kokopo cabinet, had an addition on reopening Rabaul again. And the Gazelle Peninsula is now very active in agriculture, including the north side. On the south side.
Earlier this week, the Australian federal government announced capping international student numbers to 279,000 for next year's enrollment, with no promise of extra funding. For a unitown like Canberra, universities across the capital are trying to grapple with how this will impact their communities. And it's not just international students that are concerned, but also staff and domestic students.
When Ananya moved to Canberra from India almost 3 years ago, she was excited to come to a country that seemed to embrace international students. But recent decisions, like the cap on international student numbers, makes her feel like she's not welcome.
It has always shown its global image as a country with its open arms, and it seems like it's closing its arms in front of us.
She thinks the announcement will impact how Australia is viewed in the global market.
Is Australia actually a student-friendly country anymore or not?
But it's not just international students that are trying to grapple with the decision. The Australian National University says it's a significant announcement for their community, though they don't plan to rescind any existing 2025 offers. The University of Canberra says they're still making considerations before commenting further. Australia has a reputation as a world-class destination for international students to study, but unions are worried that caps on student numbers could lead to job losses in the sector. Fees paid by international students are the second largest source of income for universities.
We think university managers over time have seen university students from overseas as cash cows.
The National Tertiary Education Union says universities in Canberra are already running at a financial loss. Last year, the ANU revealed they were $27 million deeper in the red than expected.
At the University of Canberra, they've recently announced a deficit that's $10 million worse than expected.
Without extra government funding, the union says tertiary institutions are now being forced to look at alternatives. The fear is that university staff jobs will be compromised in the process.
Our staff, our members, are sick of being the punching bags, basically, that whenever there's a financial headwind, it's jobs that have got to go.
Student advocates are worried what it will all mean for the education of the students.
When you cut staff, that means less available teachers to run courses, to teach subjects, and that means both domestic and international students are going to receive a lower quality of education.
Facing an uncertain future.
In sports, PNGRFL's national women's competition, the Santos Cup, wound down its regular season on Saturday with matches played in Lae, Rabaul and Port Moresby. The round 5 fixtures results have now determined the top 4 teams that will progress to the finals of the 2024 maiden season. The top 4 are Central Dabaris, Lae Snakes Tigers, Goroka Lahanis and Port Moresby Vipers. At the Santos National Football Stadium, the Port Moresby Vipers proved too strong for the visiting Mount Hagen Eagles, winning 16 points to 4 through Gertrude Gande, Wendy Jaws and Claudia Kaupa, and Lila Malabag finished in form with 2 out of 3 conversions. In the other matches, Lae Snakes Tigers went down to the Dabaris 4 points to 8. In Rabaul, the East New Britain Gurias were defeated by Goroka Lahanis 10 points to 4. With the Pacific Championship slated for November of this year, the Papua New Guinea Kumuls have 2 months of hard preparation in selecting the best team in retaining the Pacific Bowl.
PNG Kumuls down Fiji 32-12 in Port Moresby in the 2023 Pacific Championship to claim the Pacific Bowl will be aiming to repeat the feat to earn a place in the promotion relegation playoff against the third-placed Pacific Cup team, Newly appointed Cumul's coach Jason Demetrio will have to select the best to represent the country and will definitely draw players from the NRL, Queensland Cup and England's Super League. There are injury concerns in star players in fullback Alex Johnson and centre Jack Laibot, while there are doubts about the fitness of Justin Olam, halfback Lachlan Lem, Uka Edwin Ipape, outside backs Nene McDonald and Roderick Tai, and forwards Rhys Martin, Liam On, Nixon Poot, Wellington Albert, Sylvester Namo, Emmanuel Vaine and Kevin Apo all play in the UK. Jack de Belin, Kyle Laibot, Robert Deby, Dan Russell and Jacob Malik will bring NRL experience to the squad, while Demetrio will also draw on players from the PNG Antas and other Queensland Cup teams. Among them are likely to be Antas Uka, Judah Rimbu, Props Valentine Richard, and Junior Raw. Centre bands among them are likely to be Antas Uka, Judah Rimbu, Props Valentine Richard, and Junior Raw, Centre Benji Court, and halfback Joshua Lau. Freddie Moe, TV1 Sports.
And that ends the midday news update. Join us for more news and sports at 6 tonight.